Want to go, pretty boy?
Two minutes by yourself and you feel shame, you know, and then you get free.
The only thing better than a glass of beer is tea with Miss McGill.
And welcome to the Fourth Line Voice Podcast. My name is Darren. Thank you very much for tuning in. Well, folks, here it is. Guess what? Yep. It's episode 500. We made it. That's a long road, folks. Special episode. I'll get into the whole. We'll talk about it at the end, the 500, and I got to thank a few people and all that stuff, and it was interesting. I will say for this episode, I had a bunch of people reach out. Hey, man, you're almost at 500. You're going to do something for 500, and initially, what I really wanted to do to sort of bookend it, I wanted to get, because my very first guest I ever had on was Josh Mazer. And I was going to get a hold of Josh and ask him to come on because I thought that would be kind of cool to do 500 with him. Problem is the Medicine Hat. Well, it's good. No, it's not a problem for Josh. It's good for Josh. They're playing in the Western Hockey League playoff. They're in the third round playing the Prince Albert Raiders right now. And Josh is an assistant coach for Medicine Hat. So, he obviously has other things on his mind right now. And he's so nice. I know he would have done it, but I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to do that to him. So it was just sort of bad timing. So I didn't do that. And then other than that, I thought, well, maybe I'll get somebody on and whatever. But I mean, with Ice Wars coming up on May 14th, I've been busy interviewing guys. I have like 4 interviews done that I'm sitting on right now for Ice Wars. That I need to release. And then it was like, and then there was a few folks that is like, and there's no disrespect, but like, they're like, oh, don't make the 500th an Ice Wars episode and blah, blah, blah. So, and I was like, I understood what they meant, but I was sort of like, I didn't really give a shit, to be honest. I was sort of, hey man, I'm just out here podcasting. And I mean, if we really want to get technical about it, I'm closer to 700 episodes than I am 500. But, because I mean, although it's the Bruised and Battered, I got 70 episodes in the Bruised and Battered show, and I basically had 50 episodes of the Fourth Line Voice previously on my old format before I ever joined the Hockey Podcast Network. This is 500 episodes in the Hockey Podcast Network. So, I'm closer to about at 640 really, but technically with all the podcasts I've done, but regardless, it's 500 on the platform. So I understood the sentiment of, maybe getting a bigger guest or whatever. And I mean, some people had reached out and they're like, oh, do you have a big name for the 500th? I'd like to say I was that ahead of things and on top of stuff that, yeah, I had a big surprise guest for 500 that was really going to be awesome. But, no, I mean, and I always say this, I mean, between recording 2 podcasts and literally working 60 to 70 hour work weeks, and I have a wife I need to talk to, and doing a YouTube live show on Friday nights. I don't have a lot of time to do interviews and everything else and run around and do research and everything, because that's the other thing I always say with you guys. If I'm going to interview somebody, regardless of how big or how small or how short or whatever their hockey career may have been, I'm going to give you the most comprehensive interview that I can give you, and I'm going to do solid research. Now, I could phone someone up, just sit down, hit record, and start talking to them, like many podcasts do, and I think those suck. And I don't want to do that to you guys, the listeners. If I'm going to do an interview, like I've had reach out to guys, and they're like, oh yeah, I could do an interview, let's do it right now. And I'm like, no, I haven't done research yet. and then it just doesn't pan out or whatever. But no, I always want to give you, the listener, the best experience. I don't want, and also the guest. I'm not going to I'm not going to shortchange them in terms of their career. To me, and I mean, I've said it on here 100 times, but to me, there's nothing more disrespectful than having a guest on and doing no research of them. So you played in the the Saskatchewan League, eh? And we've all heard those shows. And to me, that's embarrassing. Some people don't care and they'll do that. And hey, that's fine. If that's your format that you want to do and you just want to hit record, no, we'll just have a free flowing talk. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's cool. You do you. I mean, if that's how you want to do your show in your format, that's fine. Me personally, as a listener, I think that sucks. And as a host, I would never do that. That's just me. And maybe it's to my detriment, I guess, sometimes. But I also think, and I've always said, and I'm not saying this is an arrogant thing or anything like that, I'll put any of my interviews up against any podcast out there. I would say the only person that does more research than I do is Lazito. Other than that, no. I'll say that confidently, that no one does. And I think that's what my listeners after 500 episodes expect, that too. So I'm not going to phone it in. There's been many times I could have had a guy, and then we're talking like ex-NHL guys and stuff on the show, like immediately, and I could have had them on for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because that's all they would give me time for. And like I said, I know enough about them that I could fumble through an interview, and people would probably enjoy it. I mean, whatever. I'd ask them a couple things, but there'd be stuff I'd be missing that would bug me, and there's stuff that I want to know, like in terms of, their come up and their junior and all that stuff. So that I wouldn't cover in a quick episode like that. So that's not my style. I don't do that around here. And, and other shows obviously do and whatever, but that's not mine. So, so in making a long answer longer, so no surprise guest. So yeah, I hate to be it's 500 episodes and I have no fireworks or cake, but that actually probably wouldn't really be my style either. So, but you are stuck with me. Yes, you are. So before we get into this shenanigans, as I was saying, I'm a member of the Hockey Podcast Network. There's many shows on the network. I don't even know how many there are anymore. I'm on the original content creator side, though. I know that much. Myself, Terry Ryan, of course, the Bruised and Battered show that I do with Alec and Jay. We're on episode 70, and that's been a lot of fun. I will get into that, talk about that later. But that's been a real fun, different sort of path that I've enjoyed. And also on that, Joel Lazito just wrapped up with Eric Cairns. 5-part interview with Eric Cairns. Like I said, no one does the deep dive like Joel Lazito. Geez, my voice is starting froggy, but 500th episode, and I'm sounding like I got one foot in the grave here. Yeah, Joel does a great job. Great guy. Has been a part of a few of the 500 episodes on the show, and I hope to get him back on again. I know we keep saying that, but we'll have to definitely get our schedules to match up. But I always enjoy talking to Joe. He's been a good friend. We've helped each other out over the years, and Coliseum Chronicles, tremendous podcast. I always bug Joe, and we have fun going back and forth. And but at the end of the day, he's always supported my show, and I've supported his. And and I'll definitely get Joe back on the show. And I always say in my show in the description, down in the description, the show notes, I have a link to Joe's book that you can purchase, and I recommend that you do so. That's been there for a while now, so I hope people click on it and check it out. But other than that, folks, I can't play the DraftKings ad now. It's supposed to be a mid-roll, so I got to wait for a little while before I hit you with the DraftKings ad. So, goddamn, I guess we'll just get into this shit. What are we going to talk about today? Well, like I said, people, this is, business as usual. So, a little couple NHL playoff incidents, more crying about the referees. And it wasn't my idea, although I wish it was, because this is actually really good. I never even thought of this. The cats over at the Morning Skate podcast, which I have actually about 3 or 4 years ago, I was actually on that show. Old Ked and the crew, good guys. They went on ChatGPT and asked for the 50 toughest enforcers of all times, and it was quite an interesting list. Yuka said to me, "Hey, did you see?" Actually, I had a bunch of people send it to me, and it came in like 5 pages, 10 guys each. And I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. I wish I had done that. You know how we like our lists around here. I'm like, son of a bitch. I never even dawned on me to ask ChatGPT for the top 50 fighters. So, I'm not going to lie. I saw 40 to 50 and I saw 1 through 10, and I didn't look at the rest, because as soon as I looked at those two, I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually do this on the air. I'm going to steal their idea. And, so we will, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have seen it and gone through it. And like I said, I guess the punchlines, the joke's been half told, because I saw 40 to 50, and that was a scene, man. So that's when it gave me that. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to break this down on the air. So I think with this one, I think we'll go a little different. I think I might actually go 1 to 50. Because if I remember, I didn't burn it into my brain, because I just kind of saw it at work, and I saw it real quick, and I'm like, I think I said to you, ChatGPT, that's actually a really good idea that's a good bit, right? I'm like, oh, I should have done that. That's a good idea. And I kind of looked at it, but I didn't burn the names into my brain. But I remember thinking there was some what the fuck names. But I remember thinking 1 through 10 actually was pretty good. So I'm like, well, that's not a bad start. Apparently it takes a hard right, because 40 to 50 was a little, all right. So, and like I said, I didn't look at the rest. So we're going to do the ChatGPT top 50 enforcers of all time at the end here. And then I have some thanks. I feel like I'm at the Academy Awards here. I do have some people to thank. I'm going to talk about the origin of the show a little bit, but I also, I'm going to talk about the future of the show. And, but we'll get into that at the end. But, first things first. Well, first off, in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, the Junior A League here, congratulations to, the Flim Flon Bombers, who, won the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, defeating Yorkton. 33 years since the last time Flim Flon won. So they are going on to the Centennial Cup. And much like in Major Junior, they call it the Memorial Cup, where the Quebec, Ontario, and the Western Hockey League all clash. In Junior A in Canada, it is called the Centennial. It used to be called the Royal Bank Cup. Now it is called the Centennial Cup. And it's the same thing. There's a host city. This year it's in Summerside, Prince Edward Island. So Summerside is in the tournament. And then the 9 Junior A leagues. So there's 10 teams at this event. So it's much bigger than the Memorial Cup. So 10 teams go to the event, all 9 Junior A leagues in Canada, because there's a couple in Ontario. And then the host team, of course. So that's number 10. So, we will see what happens. So good luck to of course, I'm an SJ guy, right? The SJ always holds a spot near and dear in my heart. Of course, my brother played for the Melville Millionaires for 4 years, so I will always be an SJHL guy. But, yes, so congratulations to the Flim Flom Bombers. I forgot to tell you guys, get this. Hey, you know what? For a guy who doesn't watch hockey anymore, I tell people I haven't watched hockey in like 15 years. I mean, I don't sit down and watch games or whatever. I mean, obviously I see fight clips and people tell me things, and I see highlights and stuff. I'm not going to, like I always say, I'm not going to sit here. When did Seattle and Utah have teams now? Like, I'm not that far removed from it. But no, I don't watch games. And I certainly don't know a lot of the players. Like in the 80s and 90s, I could give you the rosters of every team. Now I'm like, I have no clue who half these kids are. No, it's probably 3/4 of the league. I don't know who they are. Having said all that, every year, a friend of my dad's, they do a hockey draft. And it, and it's almost like a 50-50. They keep half of the entry, and it's for it's a fundraiser, and then the other half goes to the top 5 in the draft. Well, and basically what it is it's 25 boxes, and there's 5 guys per box, and you got to pick one guy in each box. So of course, one box obviously has like McDavid and Crosby, like. It's sort of like all the boxes are complementary. Like you're not going to have Crosby and McDavid and Ovechkin and blah, 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 and Calabrini and all these guys in all separate boxes. No, they're all sort of in one or two boxes. So you have to make the decision. Are you picking McDavid or Draisaitl or Crosby in that box, right? Anyway, and then they'll have defensemen all together and forwards all together. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying. And there's 25 boxes. So every year, my dad gives me this list, this page, and he's like, yeah, fill this out and whatever. I'll make sure Dale gets it. And it's like $20 or it's $10, I think. It's a 20, whatever. And, and it's, help Dale out. What the fuck, right? Oh, okay. So I come home and I'm looking at this box. And like I said, I'm like, maybe 5 boxes I know people. The rest, I'm like, who is this? I have no idea. So I literally come down here, get on the computer and go to like some fantasy hockey site. And I just type in the names of the 5 guys in each box and whatever projected fantasy score, because each guy has a air quote projected fantasy score. I'm like, well, I'll just pick him then. And that's how I do the draft. I'm like, because I don't know who these people are. Well, was it 3 years ago? I believe I won the draft. Of all things, I won it. And only reason I won it is because I picked Tom Wilson. I was going through all the boxes and he was in one of the boxes and I'm like, well, I know him. At least he's tough. I'm like, oh, screw it. That'll just be funny. Because I don't think I'm going to win. I don't even give a shit. So I'm just picking from what website tells me. But I'm like, I'm going to pick Tom Wilson. At least I'll like one guy on my team, right? And I laughed. Well, that was the year I think Wilson had 30-some goals. He actually ended up being the leading scorer in that box. Well, it turns out I think there was 100 and some people in the draft. I was the only guy who took Tom Wilson. Well, that's what won me the draft because I think he outpaced everybody and the other 4 guys in his box by like 20 some points. So yeah, so you get 20 points on people. That's a big, hockey draft is big, right? So because there'd be a lot of the same in a lot of the boxes. Like everybody's going to pick McDavid, everybody's going to pick, Makar and blah blah blah, right? So that sort of nullifies everyone's picks. So if you can get a 20 points up on guys, well, that's how you win the draft. Okay. Well, I fill out the thing, I give it back to the old man. I'm like, yeah, here you go. Well, I don't pay any attention. It's online and shit. I never went even and looked. I actually had forgotten all about it. Well, my brother sends me a text there with like two nights left in the regular season, and he laughs. He goes, "Oh, you're in the money. You might win this thing." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, the draft." He sends me a screenshot. I was in 5th, and he goes, "You're like 8 points out, and there's like 2 games left." And he goes, "You might actually like win this thing." I didn't. I ended up 4th. But I won some money anyway. I didn't even look how much. But hey, how about that? Look at me. So I'm going to say for episode, what I'm thinking about doing is shutting down the 4th line voice. And maybe I'll start a fantasy hockey podcast. I'm just kidding. but I did laugh. I laugh. Like I said. The guy who doesn't watch hockey has 2 hockey podcasts and finished 4th in fantasy hockey. People aren't going to believe when I say I don't watch shit. But how about that? There we go. We're in the money. I think I win all of $50, but whatever. Hey, $50 is $50, right? Now what can we talk about? Well, I guess we have to talk about the Ridley Gregg thing here. The sucker punch heard around the world. Apparently, it was the most heinous act in hockey history, right up there with Bertuzzi and McSorley. All right. Ridley Gregg of the Carolina. Is it Greg or Craig or who gives a fuck? You guys know who I'm talking about. Carolina and Ottawa. I guess he's with Ottawa, but there's a big scrum going on, and somebody has the Hurricanes' Sean Walker in a headlock. And Ridley Gregg's just sort of standing there. He's got his gloves and everything. Well, he throws an uppercut in on Sean Walker, who's bent over in the headlock. Well, Ridley Gregg comes with an uppercut and lands. He has his glove on. I think he ends up hitting him in the stomach or something, whatever. But he didn't even go down. The guy didn't even really go down. He kind of gets hit, and there's like, he's sort of sitting there for a second, and then he kind of goes down on one knee. But it wasn't like he dropped and was knocked out, or holy shit, it was a punch from the heavens. Like, no, it was half-assed with his glove on. Like, okay, whatever. Now, was it cheap? Oh, absolutely. So I'm not going to defend that. It was a shit play. But this guy's a shit player. He's the dork that took a slap shot into the empty net in the dying seconds and then got jumped. And, he's a shit disturber. Okay. Which, fine. Hockey's had a history of shit disturbers. Oh, I get it. Well, the refs never saw it. So I don't even know if he got a penalty or whatever. So no one saw it. So he continued to play. Well, later in the game, and Sean Walker wasn't hurt. He kept playing. Well, later in the game, sure enough, Gregg gets the puck along the board. It's coming up the boards, and he's got his back turned. Well, Sean Walker lays a pretty good shot from behind and Gregg hits the boards from behind. He hit him from behind. It's a dirty hit. And, Gregg was busted on that for it. Okay, that was a stiff shot. So of course, it gets replayed on the halftime or the between period shows. And, it was interesting because I happened to, I heard that audio with Kelly Rudy and BXF and Ron Wilson or Ron McLean, on the panel talking about it. And I don't know if Rudy was a few beers deep because he kind of sounded a little whatever, but, yeah, he was all about the hit from behind. Oh, it's retribution. It's great. I love when players get revenge, and he deserved that hit and everything else. Now, hold on. And I will say Biz was fired up about it. He goes, I'd be so fired up. He goes, I'd probably, if I was playing, I would have been waiting at their dressing room at the end of the game for this guy to come out, that kind of thing. But Biz wasn't about the hit from behind. He was sort of like, yeah, that's a little, what. And same with Bieksa. He goes, I wasn't down with the sucker punch and all that, but he goes, I'm not really pumped with the hit from behind either. I'm not a fan of either of that. So that was his stance. But Kelly Rudy apparently, I'm all about it and everything. I'm like, yeah, okay, Rudy. I mean, but you're asking a goalie his opinion, so whatever. I mean, like I said, I don't listen to the show anymore, whatever. I don't know, but I just kind of roll in my eyes, like, okay, whatever. But I mean, they were both pussy plays, to be honest. But again, with the hit from behind, I'm like, at the same time with Gregg, it's like, why are you putting yourself in that position? Like, why are you facing the boards like 3 feet out? Like, these guys just asked to get put in that, God, they like see people coming, they turn, they're just like, you're just asking to get your neck broken. But anyway, regardless of all that, anyway, I had a bunch of people send me the clips and all that, and what do you think? And I'm like, well, I would suspend both guys for both incidents. But people are like, 10 or 15, 20 games for, shut the fuck up. Like, no, it was a gloved punch to like the chest. I'm like, stop. I'll give him 3, maybe, whatever. The hit from behind, a game or 2. I do realize, I was going to say, I guess I always promote like policing the game and all that. And yeah, I do. But I'm just not a real fan of the hit from behind when you drive a guy's head into the dasher. It's like, I get it. You're pissed. You're looking for revenge. I understand that, but I don't know. I'm not a real fan of the shot from behind, but I get why. I understand why it happened. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand it. But at the same time, I would suspend him. But for like 1 or 2 games. I'm not saying throw the book at either of these guys. Like, it's not. But I guess the point of my whole rant is like the amount of pearl clutching that goes on is like, and everybody cry. I guess that's where, and there's been a bunch of shit that's happened in the minors and stuff. We talked about it on the Bruised and Battered show, so I'm not going to go into it here. But, and I have the same Because with the Bruised and Battered show, obviously we talk about like current minor league hockey. So we're forced to talk about obviously current events. So the people that listen to our show are current fans. Like people that are listening to the Fourth Line Voice, a lot of them, a lot of you still watch hockey and stuff. But I know there's a bunch of guys that listen to this show that don't watch hockey anymore, like I don't. So they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So, but where the Bruised and Battered show, it's much more engaged audience that's much more up to date, much more new age fans too, and new age hockey fans. So a lot of the times, especially me, although Jay and Alec we're all three of us are on the same line of thinking. I'm just older and have seen more. So I'm much more archaic. Literally, I am, dinosaur thinking. I am. And I will fully admit that. But it doesn't make it wrong. So either, I'll say that. These new age fans, and like I said, the pearl clutching, and they just think this is the most horrible thing ever, and this person should get, there's people like, he should be charged with assault and all the, like, fucking loser shit. Like, but the thing that bugs me is when it's hockey guys that do that. Like, listening to Rudy and them go on and on about it, and like, BXF didn't really, because BX is an old school. You can say whatever you want about BX. I wasn't the biggest fan of his when he played. He'd fight now. Well, he fought early on at the end, whatever. But there's certainly players I didn't. I hated it a lot more than BX. I didn't hate BXF. I was sort of indifferent on him. And by the time he came around, I was sort of really wasn't watching anymore either. So, regardless, point being, he sort of was just kind of like, eh. You know what? Like he had the son of the attitude that I had. Yeah, you got to suspend them, but let's move on here. Next, Rudy sounded like a fucking idiot. I didn't even listen to what's her name. And I'm not saying that because she's a woman or not. I think she's just clueless regardless. So I'm not. She annoys me. I think she blocked me on Twitter a few years ago. So, but, and then Ron McLean's, fucking Ron McLean. He's sort of, although I don't know if he really offered an opinion. He's sort of the ringleader, right? So, he just, dirty shot, whatever. Although McLean, I will say, is probably like, he's an old school guy though, too. So he's not going to I don't think he's going to get that worked up with, I'm gonna throw the book at him, like, man, Rudy's a goof. I mean, whatever. He's all, whatever. But the one that kind of got me was Elliot Friedman. Not so much that he talked about the whatever, but he's just doing the reporting. But he was saying at the league meetings and stuff, there's been a real talk about, you can call upstairs, or upstairs will phone down, almost like, like how they do balls and strikes and instant replay and all that stuff in baseball and I guess instant replay in hockey and stuff, and they can overturn things. They've talked about adding like for this very thing, the refs didn't see Greg throw the sucker punch, so they can phone up from, like they were talking, like maybe upstairs could phone down and tell the head ref, hey, Ridley Gregg suckered a guy, you need to give him a penalty, and maybe show him the video. He said a lot of the refs are really against that. They don't want that. And he's like, but this would be a perfect opportunity, and this is why it needs to happen, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, one incident, and all of a sudden, we got to change the whole game, according to Friedman. Because there's just so many sucker punches these days happening. Like, really, because this one time in band camp, it's always that, right? I mean, at some point, I'm sure, and of course, I saw the comments, that's a great idea, yeah, and all these fucking losers, so, I mean, once again, the nerd herd will rule the day, and I'm sure at some point they're going to have the eye upstairs sees all, and if anything happens behind the play and there was no call, they'll phone down, hey, there's a slash behind the legs, and then, just more penalties, and it's just like, oh, fuck. So, yeah, I mean, this whole, and no, they're just doing it to help the refs. I mean, all you're doing is just making more penalties and more bullshit. I mean, at the end of the day, okay, the guy's going to get suspended. My point was, how many major suspendable incidents happen that no one sees? Now, it might get upgraded later after the game, he only got a 5-minute, or he got 4 for roughing. No, we're going to actually suspend him. Okay, that happens a lot. But it wasn't like they blatantly missed everything. completely and no one saw anything. Like this was a scrum. It was behind, he's slick about it. So yeah, they didn't see it. But most of the time when there's a major incident or a major penalty or whatever, well, it's just that. A major penalty is called because everyone saw it. And then it gets reviewed and then upgraded to a suspension later. Well, that's happened for 100 years. Okay. But to start phoning down and like, no, you should here's the video. Look, you need to call that. And then, oh yeah, we didn't see it, but we saw the video here. Yeah, okay, you're out. Like, oh fuck. Like just, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it's this, oh, it happened this one time, so, or no, over the course of the season, it's happened a couple times, and GMs are mad. Oh, it happened a couple times, big fucking deal. If it becomes an epidemic, then, okay, maybe we can look into it, make some rule changes. But are we going to do it? And that's a huge deal. But are we going to do this huge deal? Well, also, the sucker punch, that maybe it was a justified, you could phone down and make that call. Okay. But where does it stop? Are they going to phone for every slash behind the play or a punch in the back of the head or a punch in the ears or a cross check or a shove? Like, where does it stop that the phone doesn't ring anymore? Because now you've left it up. It's also up to the opinion of the person upstairs that's watching this. Do they think that that was a sucker punch or a dirty slash that should be a penalty or whatever? Like their range too. It's going to range different from guy to guy or from each rink of people watching, right? I mean, it's one thing when you do instant replay, it's either the puck went in or the ball was a strike or the guy caught the ball or it was a touchdown. It's cut and dry. Like that's what it is. Everybody watching, it's either yes or no. Well, again, now when you're phoning down and it's over a penalty, air quote, and whatever, well, maybe the guy up there is like, it's just a slash. Who gives a shit? Maybe the other guy's just, holy shit, we need to call that phone down. Tell Wes, get Wes on the phone. Or, whereas the guy in Anaheim might be like, who gives a shit? Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, because now you've left it up to human judgment. Whereas instant replay isn't human judgment. That's either yes or no, it crossed the line, or it's a strike, or whatever, right? Whereas if it's a penalty, it's a judgment call. So anytime you leave it up to human judgment, there's going to be, it's like anything, right? That's the problem. Like I was saying, I understand what you're trying to do. The problem is you've gone too far the other way now. Oh, no, it'll just be for like incidents like this. Yeah, will it? That might be in the theme of why it was created, but it's going to get out of hand. And that phone will be fucking ringing every game with something. Because there's always something that happens. There's always some bullshit that goes on. But I mean, our players coming out in the media after, and oh boy, I wish they'd watch behind the play more and all, but no. Who's complaining about all this? Fucking media and new age nerds online. Are old hockey people and players complaining? No. So, once again, I always laugh, like I was saying, these minor league Facebook groups that I have to go through for the show and shit, and it's like just painful reading. I laugh. It's like Team A versus Team B. Well, you go to Team B's fan page. Oh, the refs are fucking us. League doesn't want us to win. Oh, it's bullshit. Well, then you go to Team A's Facebook page. Oh, the league's fucking us. Well, which is it? They can't fuck both of you. If you go to every team page, the refs are always out to get them. Oh, it's part of the script from the league. Oh, yeah. Who? Like, it's just clown show shit. Everybody complains about the refs. Oh, like in the Federal League, they're bitching about the refs. They're terrible. We need to get rid of them. Oh, yeah? For who? The next set of refs you bring in, you're just going to, the moment they call a penalty on your team, they're going to be terrible too. The refs are never going to win. Are there some bad refs? Of course there is. Bad umpires for sure. And there are definitely some that are way worse than others. Again, it's at the end of the day, when you leave it up to human judgment, that's just what it is. Human judgment. So anyway, my voice is getting progressively worse here at 9:00. I'm going to hit pause. I'm going to play the DraftKings ad. Hey, use the promo code THPN, guys. Actually, we just re-signed with DraftKings. thankfully, because they give the channel a lot of, that's how I get paid too, but they've given the Hockey Podcast Network a lot of money over the years, and but that's all dependent on you guys, the listeners, using the promo code, and that's why we do it. It's ads, right? So again, I mean, if you want to, we're promoting gambling. I mean, everybody knows I gamble on this site anyway. So obviously, I was just talking about a playoff pool. That's gambling. So, and everybody knows Vegas is my happy place that I go to a couple times a year. So there's no, I definitely promote gambling on this channel. So, and I'm sure a lot of you listening are gamblers as well. Well, if you are, and because you're going to bet somewhere, please bet at DraftKings and use our promo code. You get a really good bonus for the sign up, and like I said, just help $5 get 300 or whatever. And I mean, shit, yeah, why not? And at the same time, you make DraftKings happy, which in turn they're using the THPN promo code, so they're like, oh well, shit, we'll continue to support the Hockey Podcast Network. That's how it's a symbiotic relationship, folks. So DraftKings is happy. The Hockey Podcast Network is happy, and it trickles down to Darren and Jay and Alec and Joe and the rest of us are happy because that's how we get paid. Again, we're not quitting day jobs or anything, but hey, I'm never going to complain with a few bucks in my, that I get for doing this. So, hey, that's all dependent on you guys. So yeah, if you could support that would be tremendous, but, we'll get into that. I really need to go get a drink, and then, we're going to get into this Chat GPT thing. This is some good shit. Here we go. No sport flips faster than hockey. One power play, a goalie pulled with 2 minutes left, and everything changes. The DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the NHL. It is built for this kind of chaos, with live betting from puck drop to the final buzzer. And DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If you place a pregame player prop bet and your player starts the game but leaves in the first period due to an injury and doesn't return, you'll get your bet back in cash. So no bonus bets, no opt-in, just real protection when injuries happen early. New Sportsbook customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets. If your bet wins in partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of the Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. All rights reserved. Okay, we're back here. I'm going to try to keep my voice here for the final little bit. Well, like I said, before I get into the Chat GPT thing, I want to throw a little shout out. AJ Schlepp. Now, he was in Ice Wars, last year, and big kid, played his first pro season. He played some senior hockey, some college in his late 20s. I want to play pro hockey. I want to give it a shot. So he played in the Federal League this year. Ended up actually getting a couple games up in the East Coast League with Worcester. Fought Daniel Amesbury when he was in the East Coast League. So he's come a long way in his pro season, but he played 37 games in the Federal Hockey League this year. And folks, we have all the leagues, NHL, AHL, everybody. He is the hockey penalty minute king for this season. AJ Schlepp in 37 games picked up 342 minutes of penalties. That's some old school PIM numbers right there. That's hey Forrest, that's goon draft material right there. I mean, you're picking up the dub in the goon draft with Schlepp on your team with 342. That's some solid work in 2026. Goddamn. And actually in the Federal League, I think there was 3 guys that had 200 minutes. So it's like, all right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's because the Federal League refs go crazy and hand out 10s like they're, Kit Kats. But I mean, hey, whatever. 342. I think Schlepp also led the Federal League in fights. I'm off the top of my head. I believe it was 26 fights that he had this year. 28 if you count as East Coast League ones. But in the Federal League, I believe he was the He led the Federal League in fights. Now that I'm saying it, I think it might have been 23. And then he had 25 total with his East Coast League. But yeah, anyway, he had 20-some fights, which, as far as I know, led all of pro hockey as well. So there we go. AJ Schlepp, golf clap to you, sir. Well done. 342 minutes. I like it. Like I said, that's goon draft shit right there. So the 2026, a guy getting over now 200 minutes is a milestone, let alone 300. So holy shit. Well done. And you led in fights. So, hey, there we go. Okay. We're getting down to the whole, this is what we all came for right here. Once again, shout out to the Morning Skate for coming up with the idea for this, because, and I'm like I said, I'm mad at myself for not coming up with this, because I know when they posted it on Instagram, I'm looking now, yeah, thousands of views and shit like that. I'm like, damn it, that would have been some good some good social media content right there if I'd come up with that shit. So I'm kicking myself for not coming up with the I don't use ChatGPT and that shit. I'm an old man, right? I mean, so I was like, oh, that's a great idea though. So I might in the future, because I'm not saying it's good. That's what I always say with these lists. Oh, I'm not saying this ChatGPT list is great. No, it's awesome. No, I'm like, I always say with the list, the shittier they are, that just makes it funny. Cause we've done a million lists on this show. I love nothing more than when it's terrible, cause that just cracks me up, so like I said, I already know the top 10, and I know the last 10, the back end 10. So I didn't burn them to memory, but I saw the names, and I remember thinking the top 10 was actually, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good, actually. So we'll see. Maybe it's actually, the list isn't bad. There'll always be a few, But I mean, at the end of the day, this guy should be 23 instead of 15. Well, okay, whatever. Like, we're kind of picking at nits here, but unless it's like completely, what the fuck, But I think the best part of it, and again, as soon as you sent it, I kind of looked at it, I'm like, I'll save it for the air, because I always say with the lists, I don't want to see the lists ahead of time. I have the boys that send me the lists. I appreciate it, and like I said, I always just save the links. I put them in a folder, and then when it's time like this to hit it, I hit the link and we open it up and we discover. I always say we discover it together, so that way my reaction is genuine. What you're getting, so this will, outside of the front and back 9, the meat of the sandwich here in the 50 will be interesting to look at. So I want to thank everybody who sent that to me and over the years sent me the list and stuff. I mean, you guys that have done the list, John, you guys you guys know who you are. I've talked to you lots in private. You guys should come on the show. I'm telling you. They won't do the show, fuckers. Scott, you need to, from Fort Wayne there, you need to come on the show too. Guy's got great Fort Wayne stories and he doesn't want to come on the show. I mean, come on. Gotta get Napes back on here too. There's a few guys I need to get on this little operation here that I think you guys would really enjoy listening to, because they've got some good shit to tell, good stories. What was I saying? Oh, but yes, thank you. There's one of my early thank yous is to people that give me content. I mean, Yuka, John, all you guys. John, we're going to get you on and we're going to do that name game thing, because that sounds like a lot of fun. And over the years, I mean, I'm not trying to miss people. I mean, I know I'm not going to call out everybody, and it's nothing personal, like I've forgotten about you or anything like that. But, we'd be here this would be a 4-hour episode if I thanked everybody that's ever helped me with the show, but you all know who you are. And I really do hope that I've contact you, like when you send me stuff, I get back to you, and I'd like to think I do. If I didn't, it's honestly a mistake that I did. Like I'd like to think I get back to everybody who gets a hold of me, and like again, I'm not sitting over here like, I'm flooded by fan mail. I might get to you. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if people send me things or comment or whatever, I think for the most part, I'm pretty good at getting back to people. My intention is always to get back to people. I always like to keep communication open and respond to things. So, If I did not get back to you, I apologize. It was definitely an oversight on my part, and it wasn't on a personal thing at all. So, but yeah, to everybody that sent me lists and content over the years, it literally makes my life so much easier. Like I said, I do not have a lot of time these days. So anytime, like, the boys send me a list, it's like, okay, sweet. At least I had the back end of the show covered. That'll give me 10 or 15 minutes. And usually people really like the lists because they, especially if they're shitty, because then it's just funny. Because, I get messages afterwards. Can you believe that fucking guy's 6? Who did this? And exactly. So that's always great stuff. So I always appreciate the lists and everything. So I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, I'm mad I didn't come up with this. This is a good idea. So Ked in the Morning Skate, well done. Well played, folks. Well, I laugh, and then I did see a couple of the comments on the Morning Skate Facebook page. Are you guys fucking stupid with this list? Well, dummy, it just says, according to Chat GPT, Ked and the Morning Skate guys didn't do this list. They just asked, and then they wrote it down. But people are blasting Ked and the Morning Skate guys. That's how stupid people are. It's like, well, it's not their list, you dummies. God, people are morons. But again, tell you something you don't know, right? Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into this. Like I said, we may as go. Normally, we'd go 50 to 1, but we'll go 1 to 50 because I've already seen the top 10. So, or I guess I've already seen the back end too, though. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. We'll go 50 to 1. That makes more sense because that's how we always do it, and I've seen both sides of it anyway. So whatever. Okay. Here we go. The top 50 NHL fighters of all time according to Chat GPT. Number 50, Tom Wilson. Oh, this is like Lazito's list. This isn't Chat GPT. Oh, well, Lazito's already shut the episode off. He's like, oh, fuck this. He's out. Joe pieced out. Yeah. So we got Tom Wilson at 50. Ryan Reeves at 49. All right. Okay, we asked Chat GPT to give us the top 50 NHL fighters of all time. What do you think? Yeah, so again with when they do these lists, it's like, oh, it's the toughest. Oh, it's the best. I guess they flat out said who are the best fighters. So that's what we're basing it on. Fighting ability. Okay. Well, Wilson, 50? No. But Reeves, the reason I might almost agree with this is because at some point Reeves was, air quote, considered by many, again, there's no official rankings to this. This isn't Ring Magazine, but I mean, there isn't any belts or stuff. But I mean, by the majority of people that are like fight fans that are really into it, I would think Ryan Reeves was sort of, air quote, the champ for a bunch of years. So having said, now obviously it's not as tough as it used to be and whatever. Well, that's not Ryan Reeves' fault. Like it wasn't his fault. His parents, he was later on in life. But this idea and I've said this on the show a bunch of times already. But like when you mention Ryan Reeves with he couldn't have handled the 80s or 90s. Well, yeah, he could have. There was plenty of shit fighter. Like people have this, like old timers have this revisionist history too. And like I said, well, if Brian Curran and Torrey Robertson and all the Neil Sheehy and all them survived hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of NHL games in the 80s and 90s, I'm sure Ryan Reeves could as well. Now, would Ryan Reeves be a top guy in the 90s? No, I don't think so. Could he hang? Yes, he could. He's strong enough and whatever. Again, it's a vacuum too, because obviously training and everything has completely changed. So it's not a real fair comparison, but just work with me for this experiment. But Ryan Reeves could definitely hang in the 80s and 90s. Like, let's stop that bullshit and let's stop acting like every guy in the 80s could destroy everyone now. Like, yeah. Like Nick Kypreos gets dropped into 2026 NHL. Nick Kypreos isn't rolling Delorier and Reeves and all these guys. Like, stop. But he managed to survive the 80s and the 90s. So they could too. So, okay. So I can see why Reeves is on the list. I guess, if that's only at number 49, we're going to be here all night if I break it down like that. But Reeves is a very polarizing figure, so. Okay, 48, Brendan Prust. I'm a big fan of Brandon Press. I don't think he'd be in the top 50. I like him, but okay. Yeah. 40. This is the first name I saw when somebody sent it. 47 Wayne Simmons. I'm like, okay. No. And I like Wayne Simmons. Nice player, nice little power forward for the 2010s for that time period. Yeah, he was a solid power forward. I like Wayne Simmons, but no. Well, that's also, he's ahead of his contemporary, like he's ahead of Reeves and them. It's like, well, why? Like, no. Anyway, 46, Aaron Asham. Love me, Aaron Asham. Would I have him in the top 50 of all time? No. But I do love me some Aaron Asham. Ever since Red Deer. Tremendous. 45, Riley Cote. Again, I'm a huge fan of Riley Cote. I've liked him since the Western Hockey League when he played for Prince Albert. Oddly enough, wasn't a huge fighter in the WHL. But top 50 of all time? No. But I like him. Number 44, Eric Goddard. I love me some Eric Goddard, and he should be a lot higher than 44. 43, Brian McGrattan. See, I have Brian McGrattan at number 10 in my all-time top 10 at number 10. So at 43 he's very underranked in my opinion in this. 42, Jody Shelley. That's interesting. Like, I mean, I've never sat down myself and done a top 50. So, I mean, at that point, you're covering a lot of ground and whatever. Like, that top 10 is hard enough, let alone 50. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, would he be in my top 50? Probably not. And if he was, he'd be probably around, he'd be on this, put it this way, he'd be on the fifth page if he was. Number 41, Colton Orr. Yeah. I would have Colton Orr higher than this. That's interesting. I'm just thinking, where would I put Colton Orr? All time. See, that's the thing. It's so hard. You're covering so much ground. Like, I don't know. Like, do you put him in front of a Jay Miller or something like that? Or a Kordic or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think I would put Colton Orr ahead of John Kordic. But then again, where am I putting John Kordic? It's not like where am I putting him? I mean, I'm assuming he'd be on this list. Like I said, I didn't look at the whole list, so I'm assuming we'll come across Kordic's name here at some point. Yeah, I don't know. But I think I'd have Colton Orr higher than 41. Oh, don't worry, folks. I'm going to say after this, it's not like, okay, that's their 50. I'll give you my 50 now. No, I'm not. No, we're not doing that. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could sit down. Well, I mean, I guess I could air quote do it, but I don't know. It's an exercise I'm not really willing to do. I'll give you a top 10, maybe a 15, but top 50, no. Okay, 41 was Colton Orr. Here we go. Next page. Now, these are the pages I hadn't looked at. Number 40, Jim McKenzie. Yeah, see, I'd have McKenzie higher than that. Number 39, Paul Laws. I'd have Laws higher than that. See, this is interesting. 38, Scott Parker. Again, very polarizing figure, Parker. I mean, as soon as I said Scott Parker, I'm sure somebody listening to me right now, Bobby got him. Yeah, okay, thanks, Tips. Yeah, Probert got a lot of guys, so I don't know. Again, I always say that when I bring up, because you bring up Scott Parker, I post a picture of him on Facebook or whatever, immediately, guaranteed, one of the first, if not the first, second comment is, oh, Probert beat this guy. Like, okay. Like I always say, Probert beat a lot of guys. So I don't know if that's some burn. Oh, you lost to Probert. Oh, yeah, well, last time I checked, almost everyone did. So, okay. You got me there. Like, okay. Other than that, what were some huge Scott Parker losses other than the Probert one? See what I mean? Not many. He had a good couple one punt. Like he had dropped Grimson, he dropped Nazaroff, Brown, Flynn, Oliwa, had great fights with Twist and LaRock and Brashear, and I won way more than he lost. And unfortunately, he actually took the puck in the face, the stick and stuff, so that kind of shortened his career with the concussion. So would Scott Parker be higher than 38? I don't know. I would have him, Parker, I'd probably have him in my late 20s, early 30s. So, yeah, I mean, not to, pick the fly shit out of the pepper. So, yeah, I might have him around this spot. Yeah. 37, Craig Cox. Oh, I love me some Craig Cox, but I can't, for the sake of this list that they have here, I can't have Craig Cox in front of Parker, Laws, McKenzie, Goddard, Colton Orr, McGrattan. Like, no, I love Craig Cox, but no. 36, Dennis Viel. Again, see, I love Dennis Viel, but I just don't think he played. Wow. Man, this is hard, man. Yeah, I don't know. Viel would be, if I'm having Viel on this list, it would be the back page. We'll put it that way. No, and again, it's not a disrespect thing. I love Dennis Viel. I just don't think he did it long enough. 35, Reed Lowe. I've often said Reed Lowe is very underrated. Tremendous. Fought everybody, wide open fighter. I don't think he really took a lot of shit kickings. I mean, actually, I always say if you want to be really entertained, go down Reed Lowe and watch his American Hockey League stuff with the Ice Cats and Worcester. God damn. Let me tell you, wars. Like with Vandenbush and Parker and all, he was awesome. Reed Lowe was action, man. At 30, like again, for the sake of this list, would I have Reed Lowe ahead of Parker or Laws or McKenzie or no. But, okay. 34, Kelly Chase. Yeah, Chaser was a great veteran. Top 50. He was really technical, though. Chase didn't lose a lot of fights. Wasn't a big knockout guy or anything, but undersized for a heavyweight for his time period. Smaller guy, but he'd be later in the list. But again, I wouldn't have him in front of Eric Goddard or McGrattan or anything. 33, Basil McRae. Again, did it for a long time. Basil fought a lot of guys. Kind of that light heavyweight. Top 50, back half. 32, Shane Sherla. Love me some Chainsaw Sherla. I would put him in my top 50 just out of pure excitement. I love me some Shane Sherla. Yeah. This is probably a good spot for him. Like I think after you probably get past 30, it's fairly interchangeable. Like now, I'd have him at 32, and no way I'd have him at 36. Though, we're starting. Like I said, we're starting to So, but Sherla. I love Shane Sherla. 31, Bomber, Ken Baumgartner. Yeah, again, that's a tough one because Bomber sure didn't lose a lot of fights either. So, and he did it a long time, and Bomber was really good too. I'd have him right around 30. Now I'm saying it out loud. Between 25 and 35, I think, is where I'd end up with Bomber. Number 30, Nick Fotiu. Which is nutty because some people have Fotiu in their top 5 or top 10. So a lot of the older guys. I'm not a big Fotiu guy. Again, I've always said I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a big Fotiu expert and I can list off his fight card chapter and verse because I can't. Also suffers now because there's not a lot of his footage out there. Again, and that's the problem with a lot of the Fotiu stuff because a lot of the guys that talk about him that saw him back in the day, I always say, yeah, especially fight fans, they get really revisionist and, Nicky killed everybody. Did he? Because it's interesting when you talk to some people, they're like, not really, whatever. So, and these are the players. But again, Fotiu, for his impact in his time period and stuff, though, I would have him higher than 30. But I don't have Nick Fotiu in my top 10 or anything. Now, I know some guys, they'll have him top 3, top 5. I'm like, nah. To me, I don't think the fights were there. I don't think he did it enough. I know he had the huge rep, but, yeah. 29, Stan Jonathan. Yeah, again, I'm not. See, when it comes to 70s guys, I really can't say too much because everyone has their eras, right? Like, I'm a 90s guy. So, but Stan Jonathan in his time period, yes, was dominant. He was he was Ty Domi of the 70s. So, I would think he's definitely in the top 50. Would I have him at 29? I wouldn't, but okay. 28, Clark Gillies. There's another guy. People have him in the top 10. which is entirely possible. I always say my knock on Gillies, didn't fight enough. But when he did fight, obviously very effective, very tough guy, had a huge rep. So for his rep and everything else, yeah, I'd have him higher than 28. 27, Rick Tocchet. There's another guy. If there's a power forward list, he's in the top 3 for me. But in terms of NHL heavyweight best fighters, no. Oh, man, would I have Tocchet in my top 50? See, it's hard because I think of like actual enforcer tough guys. Yeah, I don't know. If Tocchet was in it, it would be in the back half. I wouldn't have him this high. 26, Wendell Clark. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have Wendell this high either. I'd probably have Wendell in my top 50 because you think about it, he did hang with Probert, he hung with Ben Wilson. Although he has a lot of like Gord Dineen and Bob Rouse fights, right? Again, those are guys he should be fighting. Wendell shouldn't be fighting the Shane Churlas and Ken Baumgartners. So that kind of, see, that's the thing. That's where it's like, it's also quality of opposition. I mean, like I said, you could have 100 criteria for all of this stuff. So I wouldn't have Wendell this high. 25, Chris Simon. I'd have him higher. Well, I say I'd have him higher than that. Simon was dominant for a very short period of time, but then the injuries with his shoulders really hampered him. So he was sort of a shooting star. He had his moment, about 3 or 4 year period there where, yeah, when he was in Colorado, killing guys. Like Hammer and Domi, Hammer and Probert. Like, yeah, for sure. He'd definitely be in my top 50. He might actually be 25, actually might be the sweet spot of where I would have him, to be honest. This actually might be exactly where I'd put him. 24, Bob McGill. Yeah, see, I love me some Bob McGill, but no. He's not ahead of Simon or Jonathan or Fatih or Gillies or Bomber or any of those guys. Like, no. He was just a rugged old blue liner that you needed back in the day, and I love me Big Daddy, but top 50, probably not. 23, Jay Miller. Yeah, so I always say with Miller, it's always funny to me. I remember growing up and stuff, I never liked Miller. I was always like the Byers guy, right? I always liked Lyndon Byers better than Miller, although I think Miller is the better fighter. But I don't know why I didn't like Miller for some reason. Goddamn, he looked like Carl Racky and shit. You'd think I'd be all about it. But as I've gotten older, and I'd like to say a little wiser, Miller's sort of grown on me for sure. And I mean, I never saw, Jay Miller sucked. I was just never a fan. It was like Nyland. I was never a fan of Nyland, but I would never say he sucked or anything like that. I mean, that's just stupid, but I was just never a fan. But as I've gotten older, I appreciate it more now. So, I definitely have Miller in the top 50. I don't know about 23rd, but yeah, he'd be on my list. Number 22, Larry Playfair. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a huge Playfair. No, I don't have a lot of knowledge on Larry Playfair. Again, footage is very limited. I've heard the stories. Has a huge rep. Was feared by a lot of guys. Big guy. Had some injury problems. Going on a strictly from what I've been told by historians and some video that I've seen, he'd be in my top 50. I just don't know enough about him, to be honest. I know enough that he was a bad dude and everything else, and like was a feared guy for sure. I really wish, that's one guy I really wish there was more footage of, because I'd love to see it. And then you can, obviously make your decision. That it's just hard with some of these old guys. There's no video. So it's, how do you do it? Right. Like, I'd love it if there was video on all these guys. Yeah, you sit down, you watch it all, and then you can make an informed decision. But when there isn't, and it's spotty at best, it's like, well, I don't know. And then a lot of the footage for a lot of these guys, of course, it becomes like newer stuff, like 80s and whatever. Well, these guys are at that point, they're in their early 30s, like their career, they're on the back nine of their careers by the time video is around. So then when you watch it, it's like, oh, look at him. He's a squash. Well, yeah, he's 34 with bum shoulders at this point. Like, I'm talking, we should be watching him at 24 in his prime. That's how you can judge a guy. So, you know what I'm saying? It's hard. 21, Schultz. Yeah, see, again, it's like, for the time period, I have him on my Mount Rushmore for tough guys, not for the fact that he was a great fighter per se, but just he brought in the enforcer. Ferguson did, but he brought in like that bully, eye for an eye, gang hockey. So, it's for that, I put him on my Mount Rushmore, and hockey's all-time single-season pennant record, all that. I have him in my top 50 because I'm always trying to think of like in their moment. I think Schultz gets maybe I wouldn't have him in my 50. Again, I don't know. I'm just sort of talking. If I did, it would be back half. This is too high. I wouldn't have Schultz this high. Like, if we're just going straight up, not just what he meant to enforcing or fighting or whatever, but air quote, cut and dry, best fighter. No, Schultz wouldn't be 21. Here we go. Top 20. Number 20, Todd Ewan. Yeah. Rest in peace. I was a fan of Todd Ewan. I like Todd Ewan. He'll forever be known for his one punch of Bob Probert. Top 50, I could see. Number 20, no. Number 19, Sandy McCarthy. Yeah, for a brief moment, Sandy McCarthy was the kingpin of the NHL for probably about 3 or 4 seasons. When he was in Calgary and Tampa Bay, Sandy McCarthy was a fucking killer. Problem is everybody remembers, Philly, New York, and Boston, and that's not good. So, but injuries and just father time, and just, yeah. So that's the thing a lot of time. Father time, he's 30. Yeah, but dude, these guys have been fighting since they were 16 and 17 back in junior. Like, these guys had 20, 25, 30, 35 fights a year in junior hockey. So when these guys turned pro, they already had like 50 and 60 fights under their belt, let alone then you play a couple seasons in the American League, IHL, etc., add another 40, 50. So these guys a lot of times had over 100 fights before they even got to the NHL. Now you add 150, 200 more to that. It's fucking crazy when you think about it, how many fights these guys had in total. So yeah, you can see how they're beat up and stuff. Oh, the guy's only 30. Yeah, but there's a lot of miles on those tires, man. Like, come on. So Sandy McCarthy, yep, 18. Like, see, I wouldn't. Gino Ojic at 18. Again, rest in peace. But now this might be where I try to stay neutral and everything else, but maybe my bias leans into it. I was never a Gino guy. He was a great enforcer, though. I'm not talking about fighting, enforcing. He was really good. In terms of his actual fighting ability, I wouldn't have him in front of Sandy or Goddard or McGrattan or any of those guys. Colton Orr, no. Ojic would be in my top 50, but it'd be back end. Oh, here we go. 17, John Kordic. There it is. Okay. Again, would Kordic be my top 50? See, that's the thing. Kordic didn't play for very long when you actually get down to it. Because he was around, but he was suspended and had all the problems off the ice, etc. So it's hard because there's other guys that had a lot more fights. So I'd have to look into it, but Kordic would be in my back half if he was in there at all. He'd be in the 40-50 range. 16, Derek Bugard. I would have Boogie just outside of I'd slip him 10, 11, 12. 9, 10, 11, 12 is where I'd have Bugard. Again, dominant when he played. Just didn't play, unfortunately didn't play for very long. And, I don't even know how many career fights he had. It had to be under 100. Like NHL was. It had to be under 100, I would think. So that's tough to call too. So, but yeah, I mean, in terms of, like, if he had stayed healthy and we're all good and, we don't have the pills and all that stuff, I mean, and he had played another, 5 or 6 years in the NHL, yeah, we'd be talking an all-timer for sure. Number 15, Craig Berube. Yep, that's pretty much exactly where I would have him, give or take. 14, Tim Hunter. I was never a Hunter guy, but he would definitely be in my top 50. Did it for a really long time. On those Calgary teams, the Battle of Alberta. I mean, really, he kind of owned Semenko, to be honest. And, I was never a fan of his style, but it worked for him. He grappled. He was an early kind of weightlifting fitness guy. Yeah, tough dude for sure. Absolutely. Played a long time, had a great NHL career. Would I have him at 14? No. but I'd have him in my 50. 13, Chris Nyland. Yeah, again, I'd have him in my 50. I wouldn't have him this high. But yeah, 12, Tiger Williams. All-time penalty minute leader, fought a ton. Again, was he the greatest fighter? No. If we're just air quote best fighter, I probably wouldn't have Tiger Williams in here. I'd certainly not have him at 12. Maybe 40 to 50, but even then, yeah. Like everyone I've said so far is, to be completely honest, maybe other than Wayne Simmons and, you know, it was honestly, I'm not trying to be a dick, but is Tiger Williams beating anybody's name that I've said so far? I mean, he could slip out a 8-punch to 6 win, but is he like destroying some? No. So, Number 11, Ben Wilson. See, I'd have Wilson a lot higher than that. He would be, Ben Wilson's in my, well, I keep referring to it as my top 10 and whatever. No, I just X'd out of it. Shit. I would have Ben Wilson in my top 5. So, but I'm at least, at this point, at least GPT mentioned him. So, okay, well, now we're at the top 10. So number 10 is Rob Ray. Rob Ray gets shit on a lot, and you always get the people, why, he wasn't anything when his jersey came off, like, or when he had to keep his jersey on. Those are the people that I know don't watch shit. And because if you actually go and do a deep dive into Rob Ray's career, he was much better when his jersey stayed on. He had arguably the most TKOs of all time. As Rob and Chris Y2J made a video of all of his KOs. There's a lot, TKOs and stuff. I love Rob Ray, tremendous. Would I have him in my top 10? Yeah, no. Top 20? Yeah, he'd be in the top 25, I think. Number 9, Stu Grimson. Yep, I'd have Stu would be up there for me, top 15. Number 8, Twist. I could see Twist is probably in my top 10. If not, maybe 1 or 2 outside of it. But yeah, definitely. 7, McSorley. He's in my top 10. 6, Brashear. Definitely. 5, Koser. Yep. 4, LaRock. Yep. 3, Ty Domi. Domi's in the top 15 for me. I don't know if I wouldn't have him at 3. Number 2, Dave Brown, and then number 1, Probert. So that's actually, Probert, Brown, Domi, LaRock, that's a real solid top 10. There's nothing really, I can't really poo-poo any of that. Ray could be debated for sure, but I mean, is that the most egregious thing I've seen on the list? No. My top, okay, hold on. My top 10, I got Probert at 1. It's almost a 1A, 1B. Brown's 2. I have LaRock at 3. Brashear at 4. Wilson at 5. 6. Now this is where probably Koser. 7. Marty. 8. Probably Stu. 9. I'd put McGrattan. 10. Now that's it. 10, I'd probably put Boogie. Yeah. Probert, Brown, LaRock, Brashear, Wilson, Koser, Marty, Stu, McGrattan, and Boogie. Yeah, that seems about right. That's probably where I might. And again, my 6 to 10 can change depending on which way the wind blows. So, but that's how I'd have it. But overall, Chat GPT, hey, not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, I'm not, there's a few names in there that were, yeah. Like, I mean, the Wayne Simmons stuff. Yeah, okay, come on now. But, and the Tom Wilson and shit like that. But the rest, I think, is more just an order type thing. I could see why they set them. Like the Cordics and the Genos and stuff. I'd never have them this high. But they're in the discussion for 50 for sure. So that's not that. I just wouldn't have them that high. But they're in the discussion for a 50 for sure. But yeah, let's go read I haven't read the comments yet. I know, Yuka said, "Oh, I tried not to, but oh my god." Yeah, like, see right here, like this guy, this list is comical. Like, okay, but then who do you say then? Then you offer no, like, that's what I laugh at these things. These guys, oh, this list is so stupid. Okay, well, who would you put in there then? But then they never offer their opinion. It classified the retired guys before the outgoing legends, before the current players. For the most part, hard to say what Reeves would have done with Probert overall. I say it's a good list. I just don't agree with the order. Yeah, I mean, that's a proper response, because absolutely, right? Everything's in a vacuum. Like, you can't, obviously. But, yeah, and this guy, Steve McIntyre. Steve McIntyre had about 20-some NHL fights. So it's like, that's like you're going to be people cry. I'm sure at some point if I scroll all 10,000 lists, somebody's going to say Troy Crowder. My answer to them, Troy Crowder had 4 good fights. Chikrin, the Probert fights, and who? And they, Horacek. Well, let's, is Horacek a real, come on. Like, did he beat Domi? Did he beat Berube? Like, no. Kimball dropped him. I mean, so, no, I wouldn't have Crowder on here. Ben Wilson, he's the top 3. Mel Engelstad. Well, how can you, like, Mel, I actually did, pardon me, I did actually reply to this guy's comment because he said, Mel Engelstad, ? They literally based the movie Goon off him and he was in it, LOL. Okay, Mel Engelstad, the movie Goon was not based on Mel Engelstad, it was based on Doug Smith. But no, you can't. How you put Mel? The list says the top 50 NHL fighters of all time. Mel Engelstad played 2 games in NHL, so I know reading's hard. Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of surprised no one mentioned Chara. Yeah. Okay. This list is invalid with not having Dave Semenko on it. Yeah. The one guy. Yeah. Add Olivier and Rempe. Okay. Olivier, okay, sure, but Rempe, no. Lucic, no. Yeah, well, see, this guy, what about John Ferguson? Okay, that's the problem. There's no footage. So I can't say that, all right? Because you read other things, other people go, oh, Ferguson suckered guys. He was never really that tough. He cherry-picked his fights. Maybe he did, I don't know. I don't know enough about that time period. Glenn Cocker, Glenn Cocker could be in this. Darren McCarty, I mean, I'd have McCarty ahead of, like, Wayne Simmons, obviously, and stuff, but, We need to load now. Come on now. Stan Jonathan would easily beat anyone on your top 10. Okay, well now you sound like a fucking moron. Yeah. Yoko, easy guy. Yeah, nobody on the planet is easily beating Probert, Kosar, or Brown. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this guy, Cam Neely. Yeah, I don't know about Cam Neely beating Stan Jonathan. Well, I guess we're not going to... so... Yeah, it's we won't bother reading comments. We've already gone an hour and 15. You can go find it. It's on the Morning Skate Instagram channel or their Facebook page. You can go check out the list and go read the comments yourself if you want to join in. Like I said, you're going to get new age fans throwing in the Lauriers and the Oliviers. And that's not to say they wouldn't be in it. Now, would they be anywhere near my top 10? No. But they've had great careers. So for the time, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault no one else fights. I mean, that's why I always laugh. All these people shit on Reeves and all these guys. Oh, they don't fight anymore. Well, fuck, so that's their fault? Why don't you blame the other 95% of the league that's too pussy to fight? Like, why are we shitting on the 5% that do? You know what I'm saying? So it's not Reeves or Olivier or Delorier's fault that no one wants to fight. So that's just the circumstances they've been put in. So, but, well, there you have it, folks. There's your top 50 according to Chat GPT. So, interesting list. I enjoyed it, actually. That was pretty solid. All in all, like I said, basically, I think you just have to shuffle the names around. Yeah, there's a few that you could, and a few missing for sure. But overall, pretty good. Pretty good. So, I think we've done shittier lists on this show for sure. So, all right. Well, folks, episode 500 and I'm losing my voice. Tremendous. What a way to celebrate. Yeah, guys, if you guys want to shut off this part and whatever, this is where I take the mic. If I go too long, they'll start playing the music. I won't go long, but like I said at the top of the show, episode 500, okay, well, I just actually hit pause and I'm like, hey, I'm going to actually use this Chat GPT thing or whatever, ask Google, and it came up with an interesting answer. I put average life of a podcast. And the average lifespan of a podcast is quite short, with a median age of 174 days, roughly 6 months. Industry data suggests a high failure rate, where 90% of podcasts do not make it past 3 episodes. Often referred to as podcast apocalypse, only posting 25% of all podcasts created are still actively posting episodes after a few years. Key statistics on podcast lifespan. Pod fading. Most shows stop producing new episodes within the first 6 to 12 months. The 3-episode rule. 90% of podcasts do not make it past 3 episodes. The 20-episode milestone. Of the 10% that survive to 3 episodes, 90% of those fail before reaching episode 20. Active versus inactive. A significant number of podcasts have only 1 episode or become dormant, as shown in this Reddit discussion. Okay. Reason for low lifespan. Burnout. Time and cost, despair. So burnout, the effort required for scheduling, recording, editing, and marketing. Yes. Time and cost, realization that creating a high quality content is time consuming. Yes. Despair, lack of immediate audience growth or downloads. Yeah, I'll get back to that in a second. How to outlast other podcasts. Consistency. Keep a regular, sustained schedule. I think I've always preached consistency. Quality over quantity. Focus on valuable content rather than sheer volume. Funny. Again, I'm just reading this for the first time at the hour 20 mark here. I said that at the start of this episode about interviews. I could just sit down and do an interview, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the best interview that I can give you. So yes, quality over quantity. I agree. Passion. Ensure you're making content you enjoy to avoid burnout. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I've said all of this stuff. Yeah, for sure. And it's all true. The despair part, when I was saying lack of immediate audience growth or downloads. I've been asked over the years by a bunch of different people, should I get into podcasting? You ask these questions, and I always give the answer of, you got to be consistent, be passionate about it. If you're going to do it right, do the research, whatever your focus of your show may be on. Because the whole idea of fake it till you make it, that's bullshit. It will work for a little while, but eventually the listeners will see right through you, and the people will know if you're full of shit or not. And they won't, unless you're really entertaining and engaging. There's guys that are massive podcasters that are full of shit and suck, but they're entertaining or they are engaging somehow, so they maintain an audience. But they actually get down to their actual content they're spewing, it's horse shit. But they're very good at presenting. So look at the shiny lights. And like I said, my despair part for this show has come from being ghosted by guests, by players. When you agree on a time and they don't show up and blah, blah, blah. There is nothing more frustrating than that. And that actually really kills your passion for it. Like I said, this is something I've talked about 1,000 times, so I'm not going to go on and on about it. But in terms of just for this exercise that we're talking about, yeah, that kills your passion too. I lucked out because when Kevin was the one that started this show, my friend Kevin back in the day, Well, he started the Twitter account. And that's what got it all going. When Twitter was real hot back in 13, 14, 15, 16, blah, 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 that's where we built the Fourth Line Voice, where we got 4,000 followers on Twitter. So when I decided to come out with a podcast, I already sort of had a built-in audience of at least, now, I wish all 4,000 would come and listen to the show, but at least I had someone there to listen to the show. Instead, a lot of people, I just I ordered a microphone off Amazon and away we go. Well, you create an Instagram account, and now I'm going to do a show. And I'll put it on YouTube. I just created a YouTube account. Okay, well, you have no subscribers. So then they record a show and they put it up on their YouTube channel, and then 3 people watch it and they get discouraged by that. Well, yeah, but you never grew your channel to begin with. So how is anybody going to know to look for you? That's the thing. To me, you need to build a social media presence somewhat. At least get a few hundred followers, or on YouTube, a few hundred subscribers before getting into this. Because, or put up with the no views or 10 views or whatever for a while until something catches and it goes. But it's fickle, man, and it's hard to get people to pay attention. That has been a battle for me since I've done this. It's been a battle for every podcaster to get noticed by people and get people to listen. It's hard because there's a million shows. There's a million podcasts out there. I know there's over 3.5 million. According to Listen Score, when I looked it up, registered podcasts. So you're out here out of 3. How do I stand out of 3.5 million? Now, of course, it's the genre that I'm doing. So now we've narrowed that down to hockey people, but now it's fighting. Well, now you've narrowed it even more. So yeah, I'm very much a niche podcast. That's fine. I know that, but so it's a battle. It's a battle. It's a struggle to get people. So yeah, it's been a battle. And, but going on Listen Score, I'm just looking and it's again, this is the statistics. It's not me bragging, but yeah, out of 3.5 million podcasts registered, the Fourth Line Voice is in the top 2% globally in terms of listens. So, thank you to everybody out there for, getting me to 500 episodes and always supporting over the years. And like I said, just goes, with Napes and Tony and, on and on. And, my boy Forrest out there listening, Whiffer and Thompson and, my brother and everybody, and Alec and Jay. That's how I first met them, was because they became Fourth Line Voice listeners. And we've met on social media, and then fast forward now, I consider them very good friends, and we do the Bruised and Battered show, and we've made money together, and, I talk to those guys every day. So none of that would have happened without this podcast. So this podcast has created a lot of lasting friendships for me. And for that, I'll forever be grateful. And all this far outweighs the negatives of podcasting. I could sit here and bitch forever about this guy and that guy goes to me and all that stuff. Overall, the majority, 95% of my guests are great. They show up when they're supposed to. We have a good conversation. Some interviews are always, of course, better than others because some guys aren't. Some people aren't talkers. But that's not. They showed up. They were there and they did the show. That's what it comes down to. And, and for every guest that's ever come on, thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to come and sit down and talk with me and then promoting the show and everything. It was great. And it was a pleasure to sit down on the microphone and get to know you for those few hours. I always like when I have someone on, I always like to try to talk to them for a little while before we get going, because I know a lot of, especially first-timers, they're really nervous and everything. I like to talk to them for a little while, get them kind of laughing. Maybe we could have some laughs about something, joke with them, and hey, you ready? Oh, don't worry, man, this will be easy. Talk into it, ease them into it when we start recording, and I like to think I make it, well, they tell me afterwards that I make it easier for them, and that was, I'm glad. That's good. I don't ever want anybody to come on and dread and get anxiety of coming on the show. That's the last thing I want. I want you to enjoy your time on the air and on the show. And I know it can be overwhelming for some people at the time because you start thinking, oh, the world is listening to this. I mean, in some sense that's true, but I mean, we're not talking millions of viewers or anything, but yeah, I guess it's forever on the internet and it goes around the world. See, that's the other thing. Sometimes I am guilty of that I've done this so many times, I forget about that, but it's true. Right now, in the sound of my voice is being heard around the world from people, which is crazy, but I've done it for so long, I forget about that part. So, not that I like laugh at people when they tell me they're nervous or anything, because no, that's not true. Because even when I interview people, there's some guys I've been nervous about, so yeah, I still get nerves too, but but I can't let them know that. So I have to act very confident. No, don't worry, bro, put it on the tee for you. I got you, which for the most part is true, but I still have some anxiety, obviously. I don't have a fear of public speaking or anything like that. Not anymore. Growing up, I probably did. I wasn't a big fan of it, but at the same time, I don't fear it anymore as I've gotten older. But this has all been part and parcel with doing the show. And yeah, you just learn to talk to people and communicate and get their story out. So again, thank you to everybody who's done that. Actually, I should have started. The biggest guy I need to thank to begin with is Isha. He's the one that started all this, because I always say, if people don't know, or I don't know if you care, but it's 500 episodes. I won't bring it up again, but it's kind of a milestone. So, I initially, when I started podcasting, it was the fourthlinevoice.com. My friend Lisa, thank you to her, created a website for me. She built the website and I started doing episodes, and it went on for about a year and a bit. I had 50 some episodes on there, and unfortunately my website got hacked and it crashed and I lost everything. I still had all the audio recordings saved, but my site was gone. And that was really disheartening. And at that time, I was sort of like, yeah, okay, fuck it. I was kind of, whatever. So I stopped for 5 or 6 months. I stopped podcasting. I wasn't doing any. And this is in 2017, 2018, around there. Or 2019, pardon me. And then right around late 2019, 2020, Isha reached out to me. And he said, I'm from the Hockey Podcast Network. Actually, I should... Initially, before that, when I had my original show, you guys remember William from The Biscuit? That was another guy. I wish William was still around. Not that I'm saying he passed away or anything, but I wish he was still in the loop. I haven't talked to William in years. But I was on his show like 7 or 8 times. I loved going on The Biscuit. We'd drink beer and yell. It was funny. So I hope William, if you are listening to this, I hope you're doing well. And reach out to me, man. I want to talk to you. I'd love to get you back on the show. I'd love to get you on my show. I never did have you on the Fourth Line Voice. But... we were both, air quote, sponsored by hockeyfights.com, and that's a whole other saga. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm not fan. They're not a fan of me, and I'm not a fan of them anymore. But they didn't do shit. So that left, and then, like I said, my site crashed and whatever. I had a real sour taste in my mouth from the whole thing. So I was fairly jaded. And Isha phoned me, like he followed the account on Twitter, and then he got a hold of me and said, hey, can I phone you and talk to you about an opportunity? I'm like, yeah, sure, dude, whatever. So he phones. And I want to say I was actually kind of rude to him. Not rude, but I was sort of short with him on the phone and somewhat dismissive. I was a bit of an asshole. Because he was talking about, we'll sponsor you. We can't pay you anything right now, but if we start getting some sponsors, we can get you we can start paying you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of like, oh, fuck yeah, right, sure, dude. I said, well, let me think about it. And he phoned me back a week later, and... and my wife, Lisa, said, well, you enjoy doing it. You enjoy setting up your microphone and talking about it. If they're gonna give you at the time, they're going to take over all the hosting. You don't have to pay, because I was paying for my website and shit. So they're like, there's no cost to you. We upload everything. We take care of the hosting, blah, 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 blah. And you might make some money someday on it. Okay, fine. So we agreed, and away we went. And, yeah, that was like 2019, 2020, and here we are 500 episodes later. And everything they've ever promised me, Isha, Dylan, and now Kyle Kyle stepped up after Isha went away, and Isha's back in the mix with him a little bit, but Kyle and Dylan are the owners, and they've been nothing but great with me. Everything they've ever promised me, they've delivered. We got paid. We got back in the day, man, there were some good checks, let me tell you. Again, I wasn't, I'm going to retire or anything, but quit my day job. No, but to sit down and yell on a microphone and do stupid top 10 lists of the Washington Capitals, yeah, it was good money. And they continue to pay, and things have changed. The podcasting landscape has changed over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I would say everyone and their dog's got a podcast now from former players and everything else. So it's a tough battle when like you're trying to go up against Riley Cote and John Scott. I mean, who are you going to listen to? Yeah, you'll go with the ex-players, right? The Nyland Show and all that. I was around before all those guys. So I was around before Biz was on Spit and Chiglets, right? So yeah, I have my built-in regulars that have been there since day one, and I've always appreciated that. But I've always, and like I said at the start of the show, I'll put up any of my episodes against anything those bigger shows do. I always do my best for you guys. Again, some episodes, are obviously going to be better than others, but it was always with the best intention that I do the show, and as best I could. And again, thank you to Isha, Dylan, and Kyle for giving me the platform. Thank you to Jay and Alec for agreeing to do the Bruised and Battered show, and I'm in a different direction, watching current hockey now. And no, I'm watching current fights, but I'm not watching current hockey. But I always say it's Jay and Alec's show. I'm just in the backseat chiming in. But I want to thank those guys for bringing me along with them, and I'm podcasting everywhere, folks. But and like I said, all the longtime listeners, I'm not going to start calling out names because I don't want to forget somebody and hurt anybody's feelings. But a lot of you guys I stay in regular contact with, and we chat. I love getting your DMs. Like I said, Fourth Line Voice on Facebook, Instagram. Send me a direct message. My DMs are open, as the kids say. I'd love to hear from you guys out there. Check out my YouTube channel, Fourth Line Voice on YouTube. I have over 2,700 fight videos on there. Every Friday at 11 Eastern, I do a live stream. Come and join the live stream. Join the chat. We drink beer. I play old fights. It's a hockey fight watch along. And right now it's just minors and junior stuff because apparently you can't play NHL. But we have a lot of fun, and we're there for about an hour and a half. And Friday nights, in the summer, we'll probably change up the times. Right now, it's a little later because hockey's on, and we kind of wait for the hockey games to end and whatever. So, but I think once the summer hits and, people are, I'll probably start doing it at like 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern, but I'll let you guys know on that. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free. Just hit the subscribe and, join in on the live stream. And getting to that, I'm having a lot of fun doing the live stream. It's my first in front of the video type of thing, and I'm really enjoying the medium. So going forward, I don't want to say the Fourth Line Voice will end because I don't have any plan on shutting it down, but I think I'm going to start moving more towards YouTube in terms of the show. So and maybe add a video component to it. And as I'm doing it, if I'm talking about a list or I'm talking about a fighter, add the fight if I do a player spotlight, I'll play the fight and I'll talk about it. So if you watch the show on YouTube, you can watch the fight with me as I'm talking about it. So that'll make a lot more sense. It just won't be in audio form. It'll be visual as well. So I think I'd like to do that. Again, it's a time thing. When do I find time to do this? I don't know. We'll see. But that is my goal anyway. I want to do a lot more video things. It's just finding the time. But anyway, that is the plan going forward here in episodes. Do I have 500 more in me? I could pretty well say no. But I got a few more in me anyway. And I don't know if my voice has much more in me. But again, thank you everybody for this and for 500 episodes. And like I said, when you turn back in the day, we turn the microphone and start yelling in it, and you're staring out the window, hoping someone's listening. And all these years later, all these episodes later, to get the feedback from literally around the world is very humbling. And it was fun when you go to Ice Wars and you meet people that, hey, you're the Fourth Line Voice guy. I listen to your stuff. Or you get messages from people, hey, every Monday I listen to you on my commute to work. You make my drive into the city easier. Or I'm on the treadmill at the gym listening to your show, and you kill the time for me. And to become such a part of people's lives is, it's humbling. And wow, I didn't think I'd actually get emotional about this. It's just a podcast, but it's just when someone tells you become a part of their life, And it's, oh, I'm used to hearing your voice and I love your rants and my week on the internet's hilarious. Keep it up, bro. And to be introduced into a stranger's life like that is, and then have people comment and react to the art that you're putting out is, yeah, it's unbelievable. And my wife shakes her head sometimes, like, you get paid to do this, or you have 10,000 followers on Facebook now, or you get paid on Facebook now and paid money and people know you and merch. And, you know, again, I'm not trying to, I'm a big star. I'm up there with Rogan and Biz, like, you know, work. No, but you know what I mean? The fact that anyone would say I'm a fan of your show to me is, I'll never get used to that. And it's great. It's great. Very humbling, but I'll never get used to it. And so, yeah. And then, like I said, when all the communication I've had with the players and stuff, and when I hear back from players that they enjoy the show, I'm on the right track, they respect what I say, that means everything to me. When you get that, the respect of the players, that means a lot to me. Like when I interview players, they're like, yeah, I listen to your show, I really like it. I've had a bunch of other shows reach out to me. I don't like their stuff. I don't do it, but I'll do yours because I respect your opinion. That means a lot to me. And that's something I really worked on. And that's something I really wanted to curate and establish on here is a respect. And, I always say with the show, I say what I mean. And if I mean what I say. And I'm not just saying shit for a hot take and to get people to notice me and to get likes or whatever. No, if I say shit on here, I mean it. And I'm not playing the character. Now, do I get, like when I'm ranting and raving, am I really air quote that mad? No. But although sometimes I'm irritated for sure. There's a lot of shit that irritates me, but I am not the ranting, raving, my face is red, I'm throwing chairs and kicking puppies in public because I get that mad. No, I don't. But I do get irritated with people. So my week on the internet is true, but I'm not as amped up maybe as you think I am. But yeah, I guess, but I do this a lot, folks. Unfortunately, at 500 episodes, you guys know this by now. I ramble a lot. So, like I said, I sit down here in the dark and the only thing that's on is my monitor and the red light on my microphone. So I'm just literally in my back of my chair, leaning back, looking out my window into the darkness. So I tend to wax poetic, I guess. But, yeah, I'll get out of here. We're at an hour and 40 people. Like I said, they're playing, the Academy's playing the music. So, but again, 500 episodes. It's really cool. None of that, like I said, all you guys created. I always say this is your show. You guys created this. And I created it. You guys have made it happen. So, thank you to everyone who's ever sent me a message, interacted, listened, interacted good or bad. Thank you. And followed the podcast, follow the YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, like things, download things. Those are all things that you can do to help the show, not only Joe's show, Bruised and Battered show, any podcast that you listen to. If you could, we're not just saying rate and review because, we want to hear some nice words. No, rate and review literally helps the show in the algorithms for more people to see it. That's why we say that. That's why I say please subscribe to the YouTube channel because that puts me in other algorithms. So this is all things that you can do to help out a podcast. As I always say, the shows on the air, like the Bruised and Battered, Joe's show, myself, I always say we're the mom and pop shop of podcasts. Like I always say, shop local. The Spit and Chiglets and all them. They're great shows, whatever. They're the Walmart of podcasting. Do they really need your review? Probably not. They're fine. But we do. I do. Joe does. That's how we get in algorithms. That's how we grow, is through you guys. So for everyone for everyone over the years that's hit the like button and left reviews or recommended it to people, word of mouth too. Hey, check out this crazy fourth line voice guy. He's got good shit. Go look at his list. It's funny. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's the people's show. So again, like I said, everyone that's ever come on the show, thank you very much. And, yeah, guys, 500 episodes, fucking crazy. And, yeah, I can't. When I started all those years ago, when I started out interviewing Josh Baser in episode number 1, if you had told me you'd be doing this 8-9 years later and you'd be on episode 50 and have 70 more on another podcast and everything, I would have looked at you like you had 3 heads. But here we are. And it's become a regular thing in my life. It's a very comprehensive hobby, we'll put it that way. And she doesn't listen or whatever, but at the end of the day, the biggest one is thank you to my wife, because Lisa puts up with all this bullshit and me going down here for hours and hours researching and doing episodes and interviewing, and most often doesn't complain. Every once in a while I kind of get the side eye, but there's been lots of sacrifices on her end to do this show and for time, or okay, I'll wait for you in the afternoon and then we're going to go shopping. And she sits up there for an hour or two and, oh, are you ready now? Like, yeah, okay, let's go. And so that, that's hard on people too. So definitely thanks to her. And like I said, she's not going to listen anyway, but thank you. And I always say she's also tech support. I don't know how this shit works. She has bailed me out many times in terms of setting all this up and everything else. So, thankfully, because if it was up to me, this would have been done in about episode 7. But, So, anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. That's episode 500 is in the books, and man, I still, as I'm saying it now, like I said, I got a little emotional there for a second, because it's like, you think of everything and all the hundreds and hundreds of hours that I've put into this, and it's like thousands of hours I put into this, and it's become a huge part of my life, and, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So, because, without listeners, obviously you have no show. So, thank you. And, I'll get out of here now. I got to go rest my voice, but, I will sign off. Like I always say, well, try to do better next time for you. But, that's episode 500, guys. Thank you very much. We'll do a few more. Talk to you guys next week.
And you people that don't like fighting, how many of you did you walk out and get a coffee while that was on?